What a headshot! What a head!
How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you through my very own team selection for the upcoming Game Week 23. Now Game Week 22 hasn't actually finished yet, but because of the quick turnaround, obviously Thursday heading into that Saturday afternoon deadline, I wanted to get this video out as my transfer plan is pretty concrete for this upcoming game week. So don't worry, I'll still be giving you guys a quick review of Game Week 22, showcase the overall rank and how it's currently looking, before turning attention to that Game Week 23 transfer plan and my final team selection. So if that's something you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So let's take a quick review of how Game Week 22 is going. I still do have 3 options, you guys will see them in my starting 11 shortly, but unfortunately currently a red arrow to about the 125k mark. So that was thanks to only 43 points scored, but as mentioned, I've got 3 options still to feature, but I'm going to need some clutch points to actually get me a green arrow. So whenever you guys have a game week rank of 4.2 million, that's very bad, and that's what the red arrow was expected. Now at least for the upcoming game week 23, I do have 2 free transfers and 16.5 left in the bank, so massive upgrade can be made if you want to do it. Now let's start off on our bench, and hopefully none of these bench options have to come off because it's either Archer or Konza who both got 1 point, or maybe Dubravka with these 3. So the biggest thing about Archer is the fact that he's definitely lost his spot in that starting 11. I think this is the 3rd week in a row that he hasn't started, and therefore I think it's safe to assume that he's been a bench fodder option. Then in terms of Konza, you guys know what happened in that Aston Villa game. They conceded quite a few goals to Newcastle, so I'll need them to improve defensively when I do play Konza in Game Week 23. Then finally, Lascelles is still out injured. I think he picked up a thigh injury, and therefore he ended up on 0 points. Now the 3 options I still have to feature tonight are going to be Areola for West Ham, our goalkeeper, against Bournemouth at home. This is a fine game on the cards, not expecting a clean sheet, as I do own Dom Solanke up front. So these 2 options, I was hoping that one of them returns, maybe a penalty save, not from Solanke, and then a Solanke Hattie will do. But the biggest option this week, my differential Garnacho. I know it's kind of weird saying that. My Game Week 22 literally relies on the United forward. Is he even going to start? I don't know. But imagine trusting a 4.8 million option to save your game week. But nevertheless, let's just see what happens tonight. Maybe we can magically get a green arrow, but my expectations aren't that high. So let's see where the rest of the points, they might not be out of points, but where they came from. Definitely from our defensive department. I'm going to start off with Pedro Porro. Unlike Udogie, he ended up on 1 point. So we definitely owned the wrong fullback from Spurs in Game Week 22. No attacking returns, and of course Spurs lost the clean sheet. So when we do own Pedro Porro for his attacking returns, where he doesn't get those attacking returns, he's definitely going to be blanking. Now this was a little bit of a tougher game on the cards, but considering the fact that Spurs scored 3 goals, would have loved if Pedro Porro was involved in at least one of them, but I guess he can't do it every single game week. The more unlucky options was my double up in the Arsenal defense. Gabriel and Saliba, they were so close to racking up a double clean sheet, but the Nottingham Forest scored in I think the 86th or 88th minute. So what could have been some massive differential points when someone like a Trent Alexander-Arnold didn't feature for Liverpool last night. Anything from these 2 assets would have been absolutely clutch. So once again, our defensive department isn't looking too great, doesn't bode well for Areola tonight, but let's see what happens. So completing our midfield department is going to be Richarlison up first. He scored a goal, no bonus points, take him to 7, which is an okay kind of Camsey return. Now when Spurs are scoring 3 goals and Richarlison is only involved in 1 of them, that might be a little bit disappointing, but it's an attacking return and once again a consecutive return. They get 7 and 7 now. So 7 points for 7 and 7 is pretty respectable, and definitely happy that I brought him in last game week. Now next up, also super happy about Saka's return, scored a goal, I think racked up 3 bonus points. Just needed points for that patience that we've had over the prior game weeks. So at least this week he actually got some attacking returns. He didn't get ghosted and then a week later got rewarded them. So I'll take these 10 points every day of the week. Then unfortunately Cole Palmer, as expected, had a tough game against Liverpool. There were a few penalty claims though, I won't lie, thought that at least one of them would have been a penalty. And you know Cole Palmer doesn't miss those pens. So because there's no penalties, overall Chelsea's attack wasn't too great, only the 2-point appearance. Because he's so cheap, we can't expect him to do it every single game week. Then the final option, our captain, Phil Foden, 6 points doubled to 12, 1 less than Richarlison, which is quite disappointing. And with Man City scoring 3 goals, we loved if Phil Foden was involved in more of them. To make matters worse, who was involved in the majority of those City goals, it was Julian Alvarez, and you guys know I don't own him. But I guess 6 points isn't the end of the world. Would have loved if he kind of matched Richarlison or beat him, but I took a punt on this fixture. In the comments down below, did any of you guys captain Alvarez? He would have been my preferable option if I owned him. and I was quite surprised to see his captaincy ownership was quite low. Now because I don't own Alvarez, obviously our last striker is going to be Ollie Watkins. He scored in that loss to Newcastle, got the 7 points. Now I see that he's back on the scoring way of things after a few bad game weeks. But still quite a popular option, effective ownership is pretty high, but he has been pretty consistent over this season. So as you guys can see, not a lot of points came from our defense. Our midfield department was okay, and that's why we're on 43 points. Fingers crossed Garnacho can have an absolute madness and maybe get a Hattie. But realistically, probably going to end up on a red arrow. Make sure that you guys watch the deadline stream to get the most up-to-date rank, but I'll probably post it over on Twitter later. Now in the comments down below, you guys have seen my team. How did your team get on? Did you guys captain Alvarez? Would have been a nice green arrow. And where are you guys sitting in the overall ranks currently? So let's go on to that transfer plan. As you guys would have seen, 2 free transfers and 16.5 million left in the bank. So massive upgrades can be made if you want to go there. Now to be honest, I'm only looking to make 1 free transfer this game week. I think taking 2 free transfers into game week 24 when the Liverpool fixtures do turn, if they do get double game week 25, that's going to be super integral. So I think 1 transfer this week might be enough. Now obviously you guys know who the transfer will be for, probably on the kind of thumbnail and the title of the video. It's the Norwegian Erling Haaland after his return to the bench last night. So now what you might be thinking, Erling Haaland, if you guys watched that game, he looked simply terrible after coming on. But I'm not really doubting his ability because of kind of 20 minutes of playtime, and therefore I'm fine bringing him in for this game week. Now if you guys do own Alvarez, might be slightly more tempting to kind of keep him, but because I'm upgrading Archer, this is a simple no-brainer. So yes, even against Brentford, he might not start, but when I do have 2 free transfers, I'm willing to take the punt. Now you guys also notice 4 fixtures versus 3, that's obviously double game week 25, Chelsea at home, Brentford at home, and if Haaland's back to full fitness for that, probably going to be our triple captain. So yes, quite a boring transfer. I know the ownership of Haaland is going to skyrocket once he gets back in the starting 11. Fingers crossed that's going to be game week 23. Now in the comments down below, any dilemmas that you guys have, any transfers that you guys are considering, I'll try and help you guys out as far as possible, or my Discord server, link in the description. So now let's go on to that game week 23 team selection. As always, if you guys like to see how much money I have in the bank, if I do the Erling Haaland move today, I'll have 6.9 in the bank. Very nice. So with that Erling Haaland transfer, a formational switch to the 3-4-3 formation. Haven't done this in quite a while. Let's hope it absolutely bangs. So let's go on to our bench. The bench this week kind of picks itself. We have Areola and also Garnacho playing each other. So I won't be playing the odds here and hoping that one returns. Now in my opinion, Garnacho is a perfectly fine substitute. I just want to see what the starting 11 is like for game week 22, as there have been some rumors of Rashford returning and Garnacho being benched. Other than him though, Saliba against Liverpool at home, that's a tougher game on the cards. We then have Lascelles against Luton, he's probably injured, but Luton have also been quite free scoring at the moment. So because Areola is benched here, I'm starting Dubravka against Luton at home. I just favour that Newcastle defence slightly more, but United have been pretty terrible. So not much between these two, but I think the clean sheet odds will be higher on the Newcastle side of things, and Dubravka always racks up some saves. Now Cons will be returning to the starting 11 after transferring in a few game weeks ago. I mean against Sheffield United away, if you're not going to play him now, when are you going to play him? And I'm fine benching Saliba. So even though Aston Villa haven't been that great, neither have Sheffield United from an attacking point of view, fingers crossed for some defensive returns. Then we have Pedro Porro hoping for some attacking returns. However, Everton haven't been the most free scoring squad, but I can't trust that Spurs defense at the moment. What was also nice to see with Maddison returning to the starting 11, Pedro Porro was still keeping some set pieces, which is kind of what you want. Then finally, Gabriel against Liverpool at home, tougher game on the cards. Liverpool super free scoring, probably one of the best attacks at the moment. So I'm playing Gabriel over Saliba for his attacking threat. Then our midfield department, Richarlison against Everton, returning to his former club. Will he make it 8-8? I do expect so. He's just been in such good form. Then Cole Palmer, Wolves at home, fine fixture on the cards. Cole Palmer still heavily involved in that Chelsea attack. And with Nkunku back, he might even play better. Then Saka against Liverpool at home. This is a tougher game on the cards. The Liverpool defense hasn't been too great, but I can see Arsenal scoring. But not too many expectations here for this week for Saka. Then finally, Phil Foden against Brentford away. There's been talks about a potential benching. If Kevin De Bruyne is fit, Erling Haaland's fit, it's either Foden or probably an Alvarez. Unless Foden plays out wide and then it's Bernardo Silva. So let's see what happens. I do expect Foden to get some minutes against Brentford. Even off the bench, you could get a return. And with double game week 25 on the horizon, I'm simply going to keep him. And then up front, Dom Solanke against Nottingham Forest at home. Fine fixture on the cards. Bournemouth's attack is still looking good. I want to see how they perform tonight against West Ham. But no complaints there. Now the last two options, obviously you guys know it's Ollie Watkins and Erling Haaland. Now, to be honest, I think the captaincy debate is down to the two of them, and currently I've got the armband on Ollie Watkins, as his expected minutes are just simply higher. So I touched on this earlier on, but Erling Haaland, there have been some kind of talks about will he start this game. Didn't look that fresh when he came off, but if Pep wants to get him back in rhythm, starting him might increase that rhythm. So let's see what happens in the press conference coming up tomorrow, but at the moment, as I said, I got the captaincy armband on Ollie Watkins, but this could all change by that Game Week 23 deadline. So in terms of the squad, the 3-4-3, the starting 11 looks pretty good. If Erling Haaland can start and absolutely bang, that will be quite nice, as I think there might be managers out there keeping Alvarez over him. But you guys can let me know any dilemmas you guys have in your starting 11, any benching concerns. Would you guys play Garnacho over any of my midfielders or my forwards? I think I got the benching order correct at the moment. Otherwise, as mentioned, deadline stream coming up on Saturday, 1 hour before the deadline. Hope I see you guys there to lock in the teams. But this is basically going to wrap up the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you did and subscribe if you have subscribed yet. And I'll be seeing you guys on Saturday for the deadline stream. But for the time being, I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.